Hey everyone, this is Scott again to give you an update on the game. I wanted to give a big update in the form of a video because a lot has happened in the past few months and this is way better than a giant wall of text. So first let's talk about some big news. So the first thing is that we made it onto Steam Greenlight. This is the biggest thing that could have happened for Nekro aside from our initial Kickstarter. I mean, this means we'll now be handling all our sales and digital game copy rewards through Steam. For anyone that ordered using our site, we'll also be facilitating downloads through Steam. I'm so excited for this development. I seriously can't thank you guys enough. Thanks everyone who voted and spread the word. It was a group effort, and it seriously couldn't have been done without you guys, so thank you. The next big news is that we'll also be showing Nekro at PAX in the Indie Mega Booth. This is a really cool opportunity that not a lot of games get, and we're super excited for this. We'll actually be showing Nekro alongside Stoic, the guys who made Banner Saga. I'm really excited for that game, so this is going to be a really cool little partnership we have. If you guys can make it out this year, I really encourage you to do so. We'll have a brand new build-up that's available for the public to sit down and play, and a lot of really cool merch that'll be exclusive to PAX. So if you are available, come check it out. So lastly, the other big news is that we now have a ship date. Nekro will be launching on April 3rd, 2014 on Steam, GOG, and many other digital retailers. We suspect probably all our physical Kickstarter rewards will be delivered 1 to 2 months after this date, as we need a little bit of time to print the Gold Master, burn them to CDs, and then put them in boxes and then ship them. So all the digital downloads of the game will obviously be available on the ship date itself, but the physical rewards will have to come a little bit later. So we'll be entering Nekro into Steam's Early Access, which is a system that allows for the game to be playable before it's done. So we're going to be doing that as soon as we can. I'm thinking it's going to be around December. So everyone that's bought the game, even at the $15 level, will be eligible to play the Early Access beta build. So that should be really exciting, and look for that in the coming months. Alright, so now let's get into the game a little bit. I wanted to wait for our Greenlight campaign to be out of the way before I went on to discuss some of the more pragmatic aspects of the changes we made to the game. Nekro has undergone quite a revision to the core design. Some of the changes line up with the vision we had back when we ran our Kickstarter, and some of them completely negate it. So I wanted to get into what some of the alterations were that we made, that we had to do to make the game viable. So let me preface this with saying that making a game is hard. It's really hard. Most indie studios decide to make a 2D game because it saves on asset creation time. It allows for much easier systems, mechanics, even programming. We're crazy, so we went and did the opposite. We decided to go fully 3D and do high poly models with full ZBrush characters and a full custom set of rigs, sounds, voice work, and animations for every single character. So the overhead on a game like this is huge, and after Kickstarter and Amazon took their share, we had about $148,000 to get it all done. So I know that seems like a lot of money, but considering most games take millions of dollars, this was something that we really had to make smart choices with. So this forced us to really figure out how do we want to make this, how do we want to design this so that we can do it within budget but still give an amazing experience. So the first thing is team size. We simply just couldn't afford a large team. That's just straight out. So currently we only have a team of 4 core members with 3 part-timers helping out. So just to give you an example of what each person has to do, myself, I'm programming the entire game. I do the majority of the environmental artwork, and I do all the spell effects and some characters. I mean, each one of us does a huge amount of work and wears so many different hats, and we have to with a team this small. So, such a massive undertaking requires a very concise vision to create the game that we want. We have to make sure we never overextend ourselves or try and do too much while still making the game that's as awesome as we want it to be. So this is where our changes come in. The first big change to our game is that Nekro is no longer based in a randomly generated world. So we thought, really long and hard about this single change. We thought about it for months and months before we came to our decision. Random worlds were the core of what we wanted in this game, and it brought with it massive challenges. So let me explain. So first of all, art. All assets that's designed for a random world have to work with all the other assets in a random world. In a random world, you don't know where things are going to end up. They basically are put anywhere. Using programming systems, you can define rule sets for where they go, but ultimately you just don't know where they're going to be. So you might have actually seen a couple updates ago that our game went from looking kind of mediocre to looking a lot better. This is actually when we switched from a random world to a predefined world. It gives us so much more control. In a random world, the artist has no control over where things go. It makes the world feel mechanical and unreal. With a predefined world, what you can do is add themes, color palettes, lighting effects. I mean, you can add whatever you want. So the next big thing is design. Designing for a random world it's nearly impossible, since you never know what's going to go where. In games like Diablo that are pseudo-randomly generated, this works primarily because the enemies in the game just basically run at you, you slay them, and then they're dead. They have obviously much more complex systems underlying all that, but at its core, that's what it is. So Nekro has a much more methodical approach to its gameplay that requires slow, calculated moves. We have a much slower paced game than Diablo. So we wanted to create situations that, really allowed the player to take some time and think about it, which in a randomly generated world, you never know if they're going to be given that time. So we kept finding over and over that the game just wasn't fun when we had no control over your experience. Sometimes things were too hard, sometimes they were too easy. That special sweet spot just never seemed to happen, or when it did, it was just way too rare. So we kept trying just to get it to fit together, but it never did. So we had a long talk about it, and we changed the world to be predefined per level. So this means that the game will be a bit linear now, but it also means that the experience will be so much stronger and so much more fun. So the next big change we made is crafting. We talked a lot about crafting in our Kickstarter, and we had just come from playing Minecraft and Terraria, and we loved the hell out of those games, so we're like, we want to add crafting to Nekro. So in Nekro, when we added the crafting system, we played it, and we realized that so much of your time was spent walking around picking up items. It kind of felt wrong. Like, you're the necromancer, you're badass, you're undead, you're an evil controlling overmind, yet you're walking around picking up flowers and herbs. After implementing the system, we quickly saw that the game's focus should just really be on the Nekro and his minions, and not like daffodils or doomweed. So we took out the system, and the gameplay instantly became more enjoyable after removing the crafting system. It was more directed, it had better pacing, and most importantly, it was more fun. So overall, the vision for the game has become more focused. The game is a little smaller than it used to be, but the experience is much tighter. All the changes we made from the vision described in our Kickstarter were for the benefit of the end result. And no decision to deviate from what we promised was made lightly. We spent many long, sleepless nights talking about what's best for the game, and in my opinion, what we came up with is the absolute best direction we could take Nekro. I realize losing these systems might be a letdown to some of you, but I feel confident saying that when you play the game, you will see that these choices were absolutely for the best. Alright, well, thanks for listening, everyone. We're so excited to bring you Nekro, and we're getting so close now to getting the game in your hands and letting you play it. It's like, this is the first time you get to play the game. I'm so excited. So before we leave, I just wanted to share something I've been working on for the game that we actually don't talk about too often, which is music. We're working really hard on the soundtrack for the game behind the scenes here, and I think it's turning out really good. So this piece that you're about to hear was created for the game by myself and the very talented Chris Garcia, It is entitled Death Tolls. So I hope you enjoy it, and I hope to see you at PAX.